Welcome to the Short Funk Podcast. I'm Tom Barbalet. I've realised actually that a majority of the listeners to this particular recording are actually listeners. And the movement of this format between audio and video is going to be very, very interesting. I guess I remain committed to produce audio recordings of a sufficient level of interest that people can still listen to this exclusively as audio. But I guess what I'm going to have to move forward to is actually adding pictures to this audio in such a way that another generation, a YouTube generation, will also be receptive to this format and also participate, subscribe, engage, add themselves to the general commentary. It's going to be interesting in the two-tier media approach where potentially in the future, one of these two formats will be the preferred format. And in that regard, maybe what I'll end up doing is creating perhaps digest audio versions. You'll note I've already really projected what I think is going to be the growth format, but you never know. You never know how these things are going to work out until you actually do it. And in this regard, I think I'm going to have to do the experiment and see what happens through all of this. What will it mean in terms of frequency of content? We'll have to see. But ultimately, this short funk thing was really an experiment in some regards similar to model rail radio to see if there was a virality of like listener base, a virality of people tuning in. And ultimately, the iTunes game now seems to be very much associated with comments. Like, in order to have a podcast which rates within iTunes currently, you need to have in the order of 800 to 1,500 comments. Comments over time, over the length of stuff you're producing, but comments nonetheless with a frequency that indicates a really strong signal. And I've historically found it difficult to get folks to actually comment on iTunes. It's always been problematic to actually get that conversion, primarily because, I don't know, maybe some of the listeners don't actually listen through an Apple authorized direction. Perhaps they don't have an iTunes login, this kind of stuff. But in that regard, I think I just can't rely on podcasting as a format, as a means of gathering an audience with the kinds of growth that I'd like to see ideally. And ultimately, that points to another media, here YouTube, as being a way where demonstrably a number of folk can gather a large audience relatively quickly just by producing content on a regular basis. Tom Barbalet in San Jose, signing out.